Can we all agree that that's what happened, and this fake controversy that there was an old switcheroo around here is completely bunk?
Remember that? Complete bunk? A switcheroo? Now the Oklahoma State Supreme Court ruled that what former State Superintendent Ryan Walters felt was bunk earlier this year was in fact a violation of the Oklahoma Open Meetings Act. In its 5-4 ruling, the state's highest court determined Walters took an action that deceived the public and the State Board of Education, and in doing so, they also ruled that the state's new controversial social studies standards are to be permanently struck down. The court then also ruled that the state legislature could not approve the standards because they were invalid and unlawfully passed all along. They were serious allegations that played out in front of the cameras earlier this year.
It's been showed to me from the board members that they were emailed a copy of those standards, but then there was a different standard that was sitting on the desk that they actually voted on.
State Board of Education members say they were tricked into thinking they were voting for one set of social studies standards, but then actually ended up voting on another, more controversial set.
I can't make you read. Listen, I can't make you read. There was no inaccuracies in the process as we gave you information. Can we all agree that that's what happened, and this fake controversy that there was an old switcheroo around here is completely bunk? Can we all agree to that?
I think to say what you just said and then call it a fake controversy is disingenuous.
Okay.
It is a controversy because the changes were not known to the public or the people that were involved in developing the baseline standards, and they feel there was a bait and switch.
Then State Superintendent Ryan Walters himself publicly stated that he was the one who switched the standards up on board members less than 24 hours before the vote in February.
You're looking at the individual that made the decision on what's in the standards.
Now the Oklahoma State Supreme Court in a 5-4 ruling says the, quote, switcheroo Walters admitted to making 24 hours after the February 27th state school board meeting agenda was posted was a violation of the Oklahoma Open Meetings Act. Writing for the majority, Justice James Edmondson said the board did not receive adequate notice. They were voting on something, quote, fundamentally different than the earlier draft they believed they were voting on. Instead of the 24-hour required notice, the board members only had 17, and the general public really had zero notice to look at the true proposal, something board members openly said they felt tricked by Walters about.
My point has been from day one, the process is not a good process.
Because of the less than 24 hours notice, the court ruled there was an Open Meetings Act violation and ruled, quote, the State Board of Education violated the Open Meeting Act when it approved the 2025 Oklahoma Academic Standards for Social Studies. The subsequent silent acquiescence and deemed approval of these standards by the legislature did not cure the State Board's violation of the Open Meeting Act. The second part of that statement points to the fact that state lawmakers openly said last spring that they didn't have time or even an appetite to vote down or alter the standards.
I do not see an appetite in the legislature to do anything with these standards.
Because state lawmakers didn't do anything with the standards, many believe they automatically took effect and were legal and would be what students started learning this current school year. But the court ruled the legislature cannot take action on an item that was invalid and unlawfully passed in the first place. The State Board of Education and Walters were sued by a group of teachers, parents, and students, who also argued their civil rights were violated because the new standards would have forced them to learn about claims the 2020 election was stolen, controversial theories around the origins of COVID-19, and increased teachings on the life of Jesus Christ at multiple grade levels. The court did not touch those topics in their ruling, saying it didn't matter what the content was. It was unlawfully approved and now invalid. The 4 dissenting justices said their primary concern was the lawsuit automatically went to and was heard by the state Supreme Court, instead of first being heard at a lower level where more fact-finding could have taken place. The dissenting justices did not take any other sides in their opinions. In their ruling, the majority determined, quote, the 2025 Academic Standards for Social Studies shall not be enforced. The 2019 Oklahoma Academic Standards for Social Studies remain in effect until the state board properly creates new Oklahoma Academic Standards for Social Studies with subsequent legislative approval. The stay previously issued and staying enforcement of the 2025 standards is dissolved and replaced by the court's opinion, preventing their enforcement. So now that an open meetings violation has been established, will the former superintendent be indicted on even a single charge of violating the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act, especially with what we just showed you being admitted to on camera? Here Here's what we're being told. Take a look. An actual open meeting violation with a criminal charge would have to take place at the lower district court level. If there is a charge against anyone and they are found guilty, they could face 1 year in a county jail and or a $500 fine is the maximum punishment. I asked Attorney General Gentner Drummond's office if they are considering charges, and I was told they do not comment on pending investigations. After Walters resigned from office, new State Superintendent Lyndall Fields announced back in October that the new standards needed revision even before the court ruling, and now there is a desire to change them now that the court actually ordered they do so.
So there's still a lot of unanswered questions that we've got to find solutions and answers to be able to give districts guidance.
And that was the voice of then Oklahoma State Department of Education Interim Communications Chief Tara Thompson when it was first announced OSDE was not going to be distributing Bibles to be used for certain classes. In a new statement, new OSDE Communications Director Jolene Cheney said the agency is committed to a transparent process that adheres to the Open Meetings Act as it updates the social studies standards for Oklahoma's children in the coming months. I tried to reach out to former State Superintendent Ryan Walters for comment, and on social media, he does not accept direct messages. He has also not made any comments about this on social media. We will continue to try to reach out to Walters to see if he has any statement about what has taken place.